Muy buenos días a todos nuestros invitados especiales, conferencistas y público en general que están conectados en Colombia. Good afternoon to all of our special guests, speakers, and attendees in South Africa and the rest of the world. Bienvenidos a la ceremonia virtual de firma del Memorando de Entendimiento entre los Centros para la Cuarta Revolución Industrial de Colombia, representados por Ruta N, y de Sudáfrica, representados por el Consejo de Investigación Científica e Industrial. Este evento se realizará en inglés, por lo cual el resto del desarrollo será en ese idioma. Welcome to the virtual signing ceremony of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Centers for the Fourth Industrial Revolution of Colombia, represented by Ruta N, and in the case of Colombia and in the case of South Africa by the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, the CSIR. My name is José Ignacio Juliao. I'm the Deputy Head of Mission of the Embassy of Colombia in South Africa. In today's proceedings, I am honored to be your program director. Well, before I officially open the program, I would like to explain a little bit the structure of this event. We have a number of presentations, and we expect them to be short, concise, and very direct reflections. So I would like to ask all the speakers to keep the speeches around 5 minutes each, to have a variety of inputs and maintain our schedule. I welcome now His Excellency Ambassador of Colombia in South Africa, Carlos Barahona, and Professor Tokozani Mayoshi. They will be the first ones to talk. The Professor Mayoshi is the CSIR board chairperson, and he will be delivering some remarks. So I will leave the floor to Ambassador Barahona.
Good morning in Colombia, good afternoon in South Africa. Thank you so much, Jose Ignacio. Dear Ministers, Honorable Blade MC Mande, Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation of South Africa. Honorable Jose Manuel Restrepo Abonado, Minister of Commerce, Industry and Tourism of Colombia. Representatives from the governments of Colombia and South Africa. Dr. Victor Manuel Muñoz Rodriguez, Presidential Advisor for Economic Affairs and Digital Transformation in Colombia, and now Director of the Administrative Departments of the President. Dr. Dam Dutoit, Deputy Director General, International Cooperation and Resources, Department of Science and Cooperation of South Africa. Ambassador Msoli Sabona, Chief Director, Latin America and the Caribbean, Department of International Relations and Cooperation of South Africa. Ambassador Héctor Arenas, Director of Asia, Africa and Oceania, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Colombia. Dr. Hualumi Lamini, CEO, CSIR, South Africa. Dr. Agostino de Almeida, Director General of Ruta N, Colombia. Dr. Ibrahim Mayaki, CEO, African Union Development Agency, NIPAD. Dr. Angela Ospina de Nichols, General Director, APC, Presidential Agency for International Cooperation. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government of the President Iván Duque Marquez, it is a pleasure and great honor to welcome all of you in this signing ceremony of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Centers for the Fourth Industrial Revolution of both countries. This MOU represents an important milestone for our bilateral relations and the first step towards for a better future of our nation. President Iván Duque entrusts me with the mission of extending the ties of our scientific, technological, and innovation diplomacy to the Orange economy and South-South cooperation. Therefore, I'm a faithful believer that the joint work between our four centers will help us to overcome the shared challenge of our countries due to the pandemic by delivering opportunities that will improve the quality of the life of our people to the economy recovery. Consequently, the fourth industrial revolution is a priority for the agendas of both countries, and that through cooperation and sharing good practice, technology can be used to face all the challenges that currently affect our countries. From this embassy team and myself, you have a total commitment to make the project come true and work as a partner. And also, I would like to express my gratitude to APC, to Dr. Angela Ospina de Nichols for the interest to work together in the next steps. And to express my gratitude to Yehudi Castro and Victor Muñoz for all the support in this MOU. And finally, but no less important, I would like to thank both teams for making this possible. We will meet in the next meeting. To conclude my remarks, I would like to say that every man is the size of his dreams, and I would like to invite you, all of you, to dreams together and to bring a lot of opportunities to our people with this MOU. Thank you so much. Retabela Hova, Mo Lelona, Reale Boja, to my friends in South Africa. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for your kind words. It is indeed very important to mention that this was an initiative that came from Ambassador Barahona since the first day in office. So we have been working hard towards this goal that we can finally say that we have achieved today. So following up with our program, I would like to welcome Professor Tokozani Mayozi from the CSIR board. He's the chairperson, and he will be delivering some opening remarks and also to introduce his delegation. So Professor Mayozi, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Greetings to my fellow South Africans and officials of the Embassy of Colombia in South Africa, and a very good morning to our friends and colleagues across the Atlantic in Colombia. As it has been said, my name is Professor Tokozani Mayozi, the chairperson of the board of the CSIR. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this virtual ceremony for the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between the CSIR, which will be the host of the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution here in South Africa, and Ruta N Medellin Corporation, which will be the equivalent host in Colombia. I would like to extend our warmest welcome to the Colombian Minister of Commerce, Industry and Tourism, Dr. Jose Manuel Restrepo. I'm also delighted to recognize and welcome the CEO of the African Union Development Agency, a new Partnership for Africa's Development, AUDA, NEPAD, Dr. Ibrahim Mayaki. I furthermore wish to acknowledge the presence of the Ambassador of Colombia in South Africa, His Excellency, Mr. Carlos Barahona, and other officials from the Embassy of Colombia. Also in attendance is the South African Deputy Director General for International Resources and Cooperation, Mr. Dan du Toit, and officials of the Department of Science and Innovation. Mr. du Toit is also representing our Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, the Honorable Dr. Blade Nzimande, who unfortunately could not join us due to an urgent sitting of Parliament, which was called up this morning. Allow me to introduce officials of the CSIR who are present here today. I've got with me the Chief Executive Officer of the CSIR, Dr. Thulan Dlamini. With me is also the Group Executive focusing on business excellence and integration, Ms. Kungeka Njobe. I also have with me the executive executive cluster manager focusing on next generation enterprises and institutions, and that is Professor Fulufelo Nelwamondo. And lastly, I have the head of the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in South Africa, Dr. Ntibane Ntatapa. That will be the team representing the CSIR. It is indeed an honor for the CSIR to be signing this MOU with Ruta N Medellin Corporation on behalf of our country's respective centers for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. This MOU represents the culmination of an intense and robust process undertaken by our two organizations to identify areas of collaboration and to agree on a number of collaboration initiatives that will be carried on to support this fundamental development. The identified areas of artificial intelligence, distributed ledger technologies, and the Internet of Things are extremely important aspects of the fourth industrial revolution that are quite relevant for our respective countries as developing nations. And this collaboration represents an excellent opportunity to espouse South-South cooperation in this very topical area of science and innovation. And in tandem with that spirit of South-South cooperation, I'm very pleased about the presence of Dr. Ibrahim Mayaki for AUDA NEPAD. The CSIR and the AUDA NEPAD have recently signed a Memorandum of Technical Cooperation that was in July 2020, through which the two organizations are already hard at work establishing a major initiative in science, technology, and innovation together with Stellenbosch University, which will fit in very well with the collaboration that is being established through this MOU. It is worth highlighting, ladies and gentlemen, that the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in South Africa is one of two such centers on the continent. The other one being the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in Rwanda. The presence of AUDA NEPAD here today signals the support we require for multilateral international collaboration, not only across the African continent, but also across the oceans with willing and relevant partners such as Colombia through this Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. I'm confident that with the kind of high-level support shown for the collaboration between South Africa and Colombia in this center, as evidenced by the high-level delegation here today, this collaboration can only bode well for advancing our common interest in the identified areas of focus. I wish to thank all of you, including those who are joining us via live streaming, for taking the time to join us for this significant development for our countries and indeed our continents. At this point, I would like to call upon the South African Deputy Director General for International Resources and Cooperation, whom I've introduced earlier, Mr. Dan du Toit, to address us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Mayosi, for your words. It is indeed very important to highlight one of the many similarities that South Africa and Colombia has, and moreover, around the centers for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. As you were mentioned, the South African Center is the one of the only two centers in Africa, the other one being located in Rwanda. And also in South America, we only have two centers. Aside from our center in Colombia, Ruta N, there's another one in Brazil. So this is an opportunity to develop cooperation regionally and to have a bigger impact in our regions and for our peoples. So following up with our agenda, I would like to explain the rest of it. We will have the ministers talking, and on behalf of the Minister Nzimande that couldn't be here with us, unfortunately, we will have the DDG of the Department of Science and Innovation, Mr. Dan du Toit, which I welcome. Mr. DDG, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jose, Program Director. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And firstly, I would really like to acknowledge and pay respect to His Excellency, Dr. Jose Manuel Restrepo, Minister of the Government of Colombia, responsible for commerce, industry, and tourism. And bring to you, Minister, as well as to Ambassador Baranau, Your Excellency, the sincere apologies from my Minister, Dr. Bladen Nzimande, South Africa's Minister for Higher Education, Science and Innovation, for not being able to be with us this afternoon. As already explained by Professor Mayosi, there has been an urgent sitting of our National Assembly. Our Parliament convened, which imperatively required the participation of Minister Nzimande, as well as of our Deputy Minister, Deputy Minister Manamela. And Minister Nzimande really very much regretted this, because he is strongly committed to the work of the WEF's C4IR Center here in South Africa, and was delighted at the progress being achieved in fostering this collaboration with its sister center in Colombia. So my minister asked me to convey his appreciation as well as his very good wishes to you all this afternoon. Let me also acknowledge, and this is very important for the South African government, the participation of Dr. Mayeki, the CEO of the African Union's Development Agency, NEPAD. South Africa, of course, is very strongly committed to Pan-African cooperation, integration in science and technology for growth and development. Our government had the privilege of leading the African Union as chaired last year, so we are delighted to see Oda NEPAD represented here today and part of this initiative. And also, of course, I would like to extend our appreciation for the work to Professor Majosi as chair of the CSIR board, and Dr. Dlamini, CEO of the CSIR, and all the other representatives of the CSIR are represented here. But ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, Dr. Nzimanzi had requested me to just briefly convey a message on his behalf and 3 reasons why this signing of this Memorandum of Understanding is so strategically important for the South African government. Well, firstly, it is really contextualized in what is now our biggest priority, and that is economic recovery and reconstruction in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. South African government, through the leadership of President Ramaphosa, last year adopted a comprehensive economic reconstruction and recovery plan. And one of the key elements of that plan is to recognize the role of innovation and of disruptive and digital technologies to harness and accelerated economic growth and development. So an opportunity for partnership in disruptive technologies such as artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, or ledger technologies really forms part of our government's strategic focus. And indeed, this Memorandum of Understanding, the Minister asked me to emphasize, foresee all the key interventions we will be undertaking. That is further research and technology development, that is investment in human capability development, skills development, and also very crucially, as aligned with the focus of the WEF Center, regulatory and policy reform to ensure that we create a more enabling environment for us to use these technologies to make a difference. But then, Minister, Ambassador, ladies and gentlemen, secondly, the Minister also sees this as very tangible progress for the implementation of the work of the South African Affiliate Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And let us also congratulate on behalf of the department, Dr. Nsibani Ntlapa, who has now been designated as the first head of the center. The work of the center is a policy priority for our government. We really value the opportunity being a member of this network presents for us to share an experience, to share an expertise, and really helps us then to build an innovation ecosystem in South Africa, which is not only engaged with new technology development, the application of those technology development, but also smart policy reform and smart regulation development. And we really would like to congratulate the CSIR for the work done in this regard. And we really look forward to learning and working with our partners, new partners in Colombia, helping us to develop the dynamic public-private science-business partnerships which are required for the work of the center to achieve its objective. But then thirdly, and this is very important for the Minister, we also see this, and I would like to acknowledge also Ambassador Bona from our Department of International Relations and Cooperation. The signature of this Memorandum of Understanding also plays a very important role through the vehicle of science diplomacy to strengthen the overall political and economic and development partnership relations between South Africa and Colombia. This is a relationship which matters very much to the South African government. We see it as a concrete manifestation of intensifying relations in the global south between two countries such as Colombia and South Africa, which are not only are confronted with similar challenges, but also have much in common to work together to address these challenges. I mean, in conclusion then, Minister Nzimande would like to remind us that in South Africa, we often speak of the triple challenge of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. But globally, we're also confronted with a triple challenge. There's the public health challenge represented by the COVID-19 pandemic. There's, of course, the ongoing challenge of climate change and ensuring greater sustainable management of natural resources. And then also critically, the global inequality which persists. And for the Minister, this type of initiative which really symbolizes us making science work for development, global collaboration, sharing resources and expertise, but more importantly, reinforcing multilateralism and global solidarity, which are values which are so important for us. Government really deserves to be celebrated. So on behalf of the Minister, I would like to again extend our deepest appreciation to the government of Colombia, to Minister Estropa, and also Ambassador Baranao for his leadership role in initiating this very important collaboration. We would like to congratulate the CSIR for the work achieved for us to reach this milestone of the signature of the Memorandum of Understanding. And I would like to pledge the full support from our government through the Department of Science and Innovation to support this very important work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. DDG Dan Dutoit, for your kind words, also for bringing us on behalf of the Minister. His remarks I find very interesting, and it is important to stress on the three challenges that the Minister wanted to mention: the poverty, tackle with this MOU through the Internet of Things, through gender and race bias in artificial intelligence, and in the principles of ledger technologies such as the blockchain. So this is what we want to share, what we want to know. How can we do to get the economic recovery through the science diplomacy? Having said that, I am going to follow the program and give the floor to the Minister, the Honorable Minister of in the Commerce, Industry and Tourism, Dr. Jose Manuel Restrepo. Minister, thank you for being with us. I give you the floor.
Thank you, Jose, and let me initially express my gratitude and my deepest greetings to all the members from the South African government and authorities who are here with us in this very important signing of the MOU between the CSIR and the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in Colombia. I want to express especially my greetings to Mr. Dan Dutoit, Deputy Director General from the International Cooperation and Resources from the Department of Science and Innovation in South Africa. Also, I want to highlight the importance of having here Professor Thokozani Majosi from the CSIR as being the board chairperson. I want to express also my gratitude to Ambassador Barahona. Thank you, Ambassador, for what you're building in the relationship between South Africa and Colombia, two brother countries that have a lot of potential, and we are working on that, and we are working together with you on that track. Let me also express my greetings to Angela Ospina from the Cooperation Agency, International Cooperation Agency from Colombia. Thank you for being here, Angela. And also Agostinho de Almeida, who is in charge of the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution of Colombia, and all the people who are here from the Colombian government and from the South African government. I think this is a very relevant meeting, and it is relevant for many reasons. One of those reasons, because here we are working together as great countries, countries who, in a way, share similar troubles in the past and who have had a similar path of solution to those troubles. Two countries who interact in trade and with a lot of opportunities, not only on trade, but on investment. Two countries who have increased mutual interest in foreign direct investment. And I have to tell you that 2019 was a particularly relevant year in the relationship between Colombia and South Africa, since we received the highest amount of investment coming from South Africa to Colombia. $45 million arrived that year, and it's a record number in the history of Colombia and South Africa. But I want to say that this meeting is also relevant in other ways. maybe the most important one has been highlighted by some of you: how to connect science and technology with the idea of innovation and also with the productive sectors of both countries. In a way, by combining science, technology, innovation, and productivity, we are dealing also with issues that are a must in our countries. How to build social equality, for example, how to develop and create more employment for our citizens, and how to promote development in our countries. I want to highlight also the purpose of this MOU. First of all, and I want to say that is quite relevant for Colombia, since it's maybe one of the most strategic issues for President Duque and also for the Vice President Marta Lucía Ramírez of Colombia: gender and racial neutrality, a key concept which in Colombia has been worked successfully by the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in a new project called Gender Neutrality on Artificial Intelligence. As I said before, one of the main strategic objectives of Colombia nowadays is how to promote gender in relation to entrepreneurship, in relation to the productive sector of Colombia. The second purpose of this MOU is quite important too: how to strengthen the Presidio principles of blockchain in the African continent. And it is relevant in a world that demands rights of transparency, privacy, interoperability among agencies, accountability, and good governance. Those are issues which in a post-pandemic could be quite important for the future of our humanity. And third, the purpose of working together to promote appropriation and implementation of those new technologies. And I have to tell you that that issue is relevant for Colombia, since we are trying to promote the use of those technologies for small, micro, and medium enterprises. And I think that that's quite important in countries in which those kind of companies could represent more than 90% of the productive tissue of our countries. However, in this moment, I think that this MOU is also relevant in another way. I have said that the post-pandemic will need more teamwork and will need more solidarity. And I think that with this MOU, we're deepening the idea of working together, building cooperation, promoting multilateralism in order to reactivate our economies. And I think that this can be done by working together among our two centers for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. We can also export what we are going to build and work together to the global network of centers of the Fourth Industrial Revolution on the World Economic Forum. By this agreement, also, both countries are consolidating continental leadership. Actually, today, Colombia, for example, is having the leadership of the Andean community, also the Pacific Alliance, also PROSUR, and we will also be the president of the Assembly of IDB. So by working together, we are, in a way, giving some possibilities to the execution of this leadership. And as I said before, this is also helping to grow more in our economies. Today, disruptive technologies are fundamental to improve our public and private sectors in order to be more competitive or productive. So let me congratulate on this moment and thank all the relevant actors who have contributed to this initial step in a lot of new steps that we have to walking the walk in order to increase the development in our economies by the use of new technologies. So thank you very much for this meeting.
Muchas gracias, señor ministro. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister Restrepo, for also being here with us, making time of your agenda to support this important ceremony. It is very important and worth recognizing what you say about promoting the role of multilateralism in order to enhance and to improve the competitiveness of our countries and our development. Thank you very much. I would like to follow with our next speaker. I would like to kindly invite all of you to post comments in the chat. We are going to be engaging and reading all of them and taking note of your active engagement so far. So now, allow me to give the floor to Dr. Agostinho João Ramalho de Almeida, Director of the C4IR. Dr. Agostinho, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. First of all, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My also deepest appreciation to all the national and local government authorities in both countries. I think Minister Restrepo put it very nicely, saying that when you're trying to create trust and mechanisms that really allow international agile cooperations, this is one of the best ways of doing it, having that full support based on global and common challenges. I would also like to mention the World Economic Forum. As previous speakers have mentioned, this is a network that has been growing. Besides both centers in South Africa and South America, there are a total of 13 centers now in the world, and that is still growing. And I think that shows how trust can create the mechanisms that allow tackling these global challenges, as I mentioned. At the center here in Colombia, one of the focuses we have had is to create impact that could really be transformative for the region and hopefully scale that to other countries in the world. We are focused now on 4 specific things. Number one is how do we create the public policies around the ethical and just use of artificial intelligence and other emerging technologies in the region. The second is trying to impact productivity and competitiveness of small and medium enterprises in the region through digital transformation. The third, very specific to a sector that I believe we will be able to work on together between both countries and both centers and other multilateral organizations, which is how do we impact agriculture as a very important sector for economic recovery for the world, not just for Colombia and South Africa, using emerging technologies and database decision making. And finally, which I think is a common goal for everyone around the world, is how do we transit to a data-based economy and a knowledge-based economy, which is an important factor in terms of productivity and obviously for economic recovery. Now, this is only possible through these mechanisms of international cooperation that I've mentioned. And I really want to thank also the ambassador from Colombia and South Africa, because he has believed, as other authorities, that this is an important path forward to try to create impact together. We will be trying, together with our friends in the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in South Africa, to focus on creating a balance between public policy and technology governance, the adoption of technology in different sectors, and the use of data. That balance will allow us to focus on different areas of impact, hopefully tackling these challenges that have been mentioned, like inequality, lack of productivity, etc. We will be trying to focus initially on projects related to government transparency that will be related to work around the blockchain principles and the presidial principles with the World Economic Forum and our partners in South Africa, creating a parallel and dynamic collaboration between both countries. The second one will be very much focused on gender and racial neutrality in terms of artificial intelligence systems. We have already kicked off that project in Colombia, and hopefully we will now implement it jointly in both centers. And finally, a very important focus on creating and developing the ecosystem. The development of capabilities in terms of emerging technology will be important to focus on digital transformation of both countries and hopefully both regions. A final word to what we have been doing up until now. Our work with the local ministries of commerce, technology, innovation agencies, And as the Minister Restrepo said, that Pacific Alliance Andean community is very much focused on deploying these first results we've had during our first 2 years of operation. And hopefully, hand in hand with our colleagues in the center in South Africa, we will be able to scale that and develop new projects together. So once again, my very warm salutations, thanking everyone who made this possible. And now comes the work to really make this as an implemented example of how agile international cooperation can really create impact at a global scale. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Director Agustinho Almeida, for your important remarks regarding transparency, ecosystems, and digital transformations. I also would like to stress on your leadership as well to get this MOU signed and to implement it, which is the main goal, not living just with the signing, but just implementing it and develop projects that can foster and ameliorate our lives here in South Africa and also in Colombia. So thank you very, very much for that. Please let me recognize your counterpart, Dr. Nsibane Ntlatlapa. He's the head of the South African Center of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, the CSIR. Dr. Ntlatlapa, the floor is all yours.
All right. Thanks, Chair. And I also recognize the minister that is in the audience, the chairperson of the board of the CSIR, the CEO of the CSIR, and again, not forgetting the CEO of our African Development Agency, who's in attendance today. I will just highlight again that this MOU comes at a very significant period in terms of the C4IR SA. Just to highlight that it comes just about 16 days since I've started as a inaugural head of the center. So in a sense, I cannot really tell you a long story about how much we have achieved. We are just new. It therefore means that this cooperation that we are starting here will form a key part of the roadmap of our programs in the next 3 years. So it does come at the opportune time. I had prepared quite a lot of remarks, but everybody else has covered them. So let me just highlight one small part. In a sense, the identified areas, as Agostinho has just elaborated a lot on them. And also Professor Majosi has also talked a lot about those. In those areas, they have highlighted the relevancy to our respective countries in terms of developing the countries as well as deepening the South-South cooperation. The other aspect that has not been mentioned quite a lot about these three technologies that have been there is that they all deal in one way or the other with data, and in doing so, they do facilitate new business models that would really shift the value creation within and between different segments of the value chains across many sectors. Data is what we has been known to be said is the new oil in many other aspects. With all of these technologies centering around the data, it then calls into questions, what about the ethics around the usage of data? So that becomes a critical element. And I'm glad that Agostinho in his remarks, as well as a minister in his remarks, highlighted quite a lot of issues around the ethics of data. If one takes, for instance, the case of embedding these technologies in physical objects, and I know Agostinho talked about the ethics around the bias in both the gender and race. But if you take the embedding of those technologies in various physical objects that we may either develop or we will import to use in our factories. And those physical objects such as robots, autonomous vehicles, as well as the autonomous aircrafts that are better known as drones these days. You then end up with a combination that, if not managed very well, could actually be deadly. The extensive use of big data, the growing reliance on the algorithms to perform the tasks, shape choices, and even make decisions, and the gradual reduction of human involvement or even oversight over many of those automatic processes. Now, if you take the combination of those, they pose critical ethical issues around the bias, as we have indicated, the fairness, responsibility, who is responsible for all of those decisions, the equality, as well as the respect of human rights and many others. So I'm glad, therefore, that as I was pondering on this issue, that data ethics should actually be a critical element that we take, and as the two countries work on. The center in Colombia is already working on those issues, which lays a proper foundation for us to start the collaboration. It is therefore that this thing will center around that, and make sure that we are assisting our governments and society in general to work together to mitigate such ethical issues. So the center would actually be focused on that aspect, and working with the center in Colombia, we believe that we'll be able to solve those things together. And now these ethical issues are not necessarily the government issues only. We may have talked about assisting the government, but the ethical issues don't just arise there. They can arise in, private business to private business engagement, as well as private business to government, engagements. And they also do not just limit themselves within the country. And within the country could be different spheres of government. In South Africa, we would have local government, provincial government, and the national government. But it also now lends itself as you cross the borders of the country. And I'll just highlight the importance of having Dr. Mayeki in the discussion today around where Ouda NEPAD could play a critical role, because as you look at the programs that are being implemented across the African continent, the African Continental Free Trade area, it is at the beginning. It is at the stage at which it's about to, it has just been launched. It's about to really operate. All of these other issues that we have mentioned here around the cross-border issues and all the ethical issues that we have highlighted here will be of critical importance. So I do look forward to working much closer with both the Ouda NEPAD, the AFCFTA, as well as the Colombia Center, to make sure that the benefits of what we will develop together goes and reaches all the Africans as well as the rest of the world. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ntlatlapa, for your important inputs around mitigating all the issues that our countries face. Some of these issues, we have many similarities. For example, the using of data, which is a challenge of nowadays with all the pandemic that all the countries we are facing, and as well as the other technicalities that you mentioned, that only shows the many opportunities of joint work and cooperation that can still be done between our two countries. Allow myself to present our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen. With us, Dr. Angela Ospina de Nichols, Director General of the Presidential Agency for International Cooperation, APC Colombia. Dr. Ospina, the floor is all yours.
Jose, thank you very much. Good morning from Colombia and good afternoon for you all in South Africa. Good morning, Ambassador Carlos Barahona, Dr. Jose Manuel Restrepo, Minister of Commerce, Industry and Tourism of Colombia, Professor Tokasti Majori, CSIR Board Chairperson, Mr. Dan Dutoit, Deputy Director General for International Cooperation and Resources, Mr. Agostino Almeida, Director for Ruta N, Medellin, my city, Colombia, Dr. Itzabane Natpla, South Africa, C4IR, and Dr. Ibrahim Mayaki, CO Auda Nepat. And to all the participants at this virtual signing ceremony. We are very grateful to share this moment with you, and we deeply thank to the Ambassador Barahona and all the staff of the Colombian Embassy in South Africa. Today, we gather to celebrate a great bilateral initiative that will enhance the South-South cooperation between South Africa and Colombia. This MOU between the CSIR and the Ruta N Corporation, two great centers engaged in research and innovation that work every day to foster development goals for South Africa and Colombia. This MOU is the first step to develop cooperation programs and to project to address the fourth industrial revolution, which is one of those common interests between South Africa and Colombia. For Mr. President Ivan Duque, the fourth industrial revolution is a milestone that will encourage our global societies to work together for the improvement of our welfare. In that sense, APC Colombia is innovating through the creation of a knowledge management hub, an interactive and collaborative space to promote South-South cooperation adapted to the current realities. We celebrate that this agreement will include the woman perspective since the beginning, because there are still gender gaps that affect the access of women to fourth industrial revolution. This revolution cannot be done without women, and this is an important challenge for the South-South cooperation. Additionally, this year, APC Colombia will sign a strategic cooperation agreement with AUDA NEPAD that will provide a framework for South-South and triangular cooperation to promote projects on orange economy, technology, innovation, and agriculture through two-way cooperation projects. This instrument will bring closer African and Colombian entities in order to collaborate and fulfill common goals. To conclude, at APC Colombia, we underscore our willingness to support the development of South-South cooperation projects with technological approach between our two countries, understanding the importance of building global partnerships as an engine that accelerates the sustainable development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Angela Ospina. We would like to thank you for your constant and ongoing support with this embassy and with everything that we have been working in terms of cooperation with between our regions, between South America, between Africa, not only between Colombia and South Africa, and for your important work, which only establishes and showcases the leadership of Colombia in terms of South-South cooperation. Thank you very much. Dear attendees, before moving to the next special guest, I would like to invite the delegations from the both centers to be prepared for the virtual signing ceremony, which will take place after our next speaker, which is a very important speaker. Having said that, please let's welcome Dr. Ibrahim Mayaki. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the African Union Development Agency, AUDA NEPAD. Dr. Mayaki, the floor is all yours.
Let me recognize the presence of a minister, the chairperson of a board of CSIR, the ambassador of Colombia to South Africa, the CEO of CSIR, the head of the Center for, both heads of the Centers for Industrial Revolution, and Ms. Ospina, the head of the APC. I'm very pleased and honored to be part of this virtual signing of the MOU between CSIR and the Center for Industrial Revolution of Colombia. Pleased and honored for two reasons. First of all, as the head of the African Union Development Agency, our main goal is to foster, enhance, and push the integration of a continent. And the integration of a continent is a must because Africa is a fragmented country in 55 countries, and fragmentation is the main obstacle for our development. So we try to fight against fragmentation by providing foundations for sharing experiences and learning how to plan together, how to think together, how to implement together. And this MOU between CSIR and the Center for Industrial Revolution is a demonstration of a sound South-South cooperation, which is an input to the review of a global order in which we are. And at the same time, it is an entry point for Africa's integration because we consider South Africa as a leader in the continent in terms of science, technology, and innovation. And this is why we have an ongoing cooperation with CSIR on science, technology, and innovation with the University of Stellenbosch. And we count on this cooperation to impulse the implementation of a continental framework that we have at the African Union level, which is the Science, Technology, and Innovation Strategy, which main objective is to mainstream science, technology, and innovation in all the sectors in which we do intervene, from climate change adaptation to agriculture to energy, all the sectors. And the particularity of the cooperation that we have with CSIR is that we will give a priority to multi-sectorality. And as the head of the Center for Industrial Revolution was saying, our problems, our challenges are no longer monosectoral. They are multi-sectoral, and we need an integrated approach. And in this integrated approach, science, technology, and innovation will be the main trigger in order to make progress. So we equally have an MOU with APC. We have been working with APC for quite some time. And as you know, we have one of the best centers in Senegal in biotechnology regulation. And on that domain, we have been liaising with Colombian institutions in order to advance our knowledge in this particular domain. My last point will be about Africa's challenges. President Cyril Ramaphosa was chair of the African Union in 2020. He made sure that the interests of a continent were well understood by all the member states, and that the aim of the instruments that we are developing, like the Continental Free Trade Agreement, are fundamentally geared towards pushing, promoting, enhancing Africa's interests. But the more Africa will be stable and prosperous, the more it will benefit the world. So I'm very pleased and honored, let me repeat again. And we are the servant of the institutions of this continent and the member states, and we will be fully opened in order to adopt, and integrate the outcomes of this cooperation between CSIR and the Center for Industrial Revolution in Colombia. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mayaki. I can also speak to you in Spanish. Muchas gracias, Dr. Mayaki. Dr. Mayaki speaks very well Spanish. Thank you very much for your important inputs and remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, our program continues now with the virtual signing ceremony of the MOU. Firstly, I would like to ask our production team to put on the cameras from both centers in Medellin and in Pretoria. We have Dr. Agostinho. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing some issues with the platform. Let me get back to you. Dr. Agostinho. We're here. We have both directors, Dr. Almeida and Dr. Dlamini. Now we would like to invite our directors to have ready your pens. I think we can proceed with the signing of the texts. This is a historic milestone in our bilateral relations between Colombia and South Africa, working together for a better future for our people. After the hard work between both centers and all the parties involved, Ambassador Barahona, thank you very much for making all this possible. Directors, the DSI, the government of South Africa, Minister Restrepo, the government of Colombia, the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Tourism, APC Colombia, and NEPAD. Thank you very much. Dr. Almeida, thank you very much. Dr. Dlamini, this is history in the making, as I said. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now on the closing remarks section of our program. At this point, I would like to highlight the presence of Ambassador Hector Arenas, Director for Asia, Africa, and Oceania. This is okay, that both directors are showing the paper that I already signed. This is the beginning of the first step of many projects to be constructed between us. As I was saying, the Ambassador Hector Arenas, Director for Asia, Africa, and Oceania of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Colombia, as well as Ambassador Nsolisa Bona, Chief Director for Latin America and the Caribbean of the Department of International Relations and Cooperation of South Africa. Now, please, let's welcome Mr. Ramiro Chaparro on behalf of Mr. Victor Manuel Muñoz, Presidential Advisor for Economic Affairs and Digital Transformation, who will be delivering some closing remarks on behalf of the government of Colombia. Dr. Chaparro, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jose. And good morning and good afternoon for everybody. I'm speaking on behalf of Victor Muñoz, the Director of Presidency, who in the last year has been the leader in the government policy for digital transformation. Colombia is a pioneer country in the Latin American region who envisioned the fourth industrial revolution technologies as engines for social and economic welfare. Beyond that, the vision was backed up by the establishment and funding of the first web center for the fourth industrial revolution in the region to promote the emerging technologies adoption. All co-designed, pilot, scaled, deployed, and adopted initiatives serve the sole purpose to move forward the society and the economy of the country and its influence area in the Latin American region. Aiming to expand that influence area, the government of Colombia and its Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution have found in the partnerships an ideal vehicle to achieve more in less time. To produce, with a broader view, all the instruments that facilitate the adoption of artificial intelligence fairness, Internet of Things, blockchain principles by institutions and citizens with actual impact. Partnering with the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution of South Africa validates such a belief. In the short term, we're looking to position data exchange-based economies, artificial intelligence transparency policies, and all technology-based solutions to fuel the socioeconomic progress. The challenges exceed the technology-related ones. It requires the articulation of several actors, confidence building, regulatory frameworks, users' rights guarantees, sustainable monetization models, and overall transparent playing rules. Following a co-creation dynamic, two-way learning and mutual support between South Africa's and Colombia's Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution can improve our chance not only to make it, but to make it right. On the same, we're confident that the sibling initiative related to artificial intelligence, smart cities, blockchain procedure principles, and tech data policy could follow the same path based on this brand new partnership. Thanks and congratulations for such an achievement.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chaparro, for providing us these words on behalf of Mr. Victor Manuel Muñoz. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to invite, on behalf of the government of South Africa, to invite again Mr. Dan du Toit, Deputy Director General of International Cooperation of the Department of Science and Innovation of South Africa, to deliver their closing remarks. So, Mr. du Toit, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Program Director. And again, I'd like to acknowledge His Excellency, the Minister, as well as the Ambassador and the other dignitaries present. We've listened very closely, made important notes, and we will certainly be reporting back to our Minister. But I have absolutely no doubt that our Minister will not be only delighted to hear from the successful signature of the MOU, and of course, again, his congratulations on behalf of him to everyone involved, but also about the very concrete statements about a commitment to collaboration. And as indicated by both the speakers from Colombia, the different entities, the government and the Ruta Center, as well as from the CSIR, very, very real opportunities identified for collaboration, which will make a concrete difference. Because as has been stated, South Africa and Colombia share so much in common, and there's so much opportunity for collaboration. We'd also really very much appreciated the words from the CEO of Oda NEPAD, and I can assure you, Dr. Mayeki, that our government, through the Department of Science and Innovation, of course, working closely with the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, will ensure that we harness these resources, including South Africa's hosting of the Fourth Industrial Revolution Affiliate Center, to contribute to Pan-African development and collaboration. So on behalf of the South African government, again, our congratulations to the South African and Colombian centers on the signature of the MOU, our deep felt appreciation once again to our partners in Colombia, the government of Colombia, for the hand of friendship, and specifically again would like to acknowledge the efforts of the Colombian embassy in South Africa under the leadership of Ambassador Baranoa. But then I think most importantly at all, our firm pledge and commitment to work with you all and make sure that this collaboration blossoms and make a difference in improving, through innovation and technology, the quality of living of all of our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. du Toit, providing us the closing remarks on behalf of the government of South Africa in this important event. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to an end of our program, but before wrapping up, I would like to ask all the guests and speakers for a family photo. So we are going to be in the screen soon. We'll have a few family photos for the archives and archives of the CSIR, and the C4IR. I wish to thank you all. We have come to the end of the program. Special thanks to all our guest speakers from this important event. May I at this point thank also Ruta N and the C4IR for hosting us in their platform, and also to our audience. I can confirm that all the points raised today will be a very valuable contribution to the work of all the organizations involved in this ceremony. Let me close by expressing our thanks and appreciation to our speakers again for their time, the many others here that contributed as well. And we want to say thank you all. And also, I would like to express our gratitude to our attendees for dedicating part of your valuable time to be here with us. I believe we have made history and great progress here, and we look forward to seeing the impact of this virtual signing ceremony and the MOU. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Have
Bye.
a good day. Bye.
Thank you.